Hello everyone, good day. Today I will discuss about the rural countryside cultures and traditions. First is Tagalog. In Marikina, Metro Manila, right after a person breathed his last, his neighbors would build a shed of canvas or split bamboo in his yard or on the street fronting his home and put long wooden benches for all condolers. Throughout the several days of the week, those who stay with the family of the deceased are served lunch. In the evening, they are served coffee, rice cakes, or sandwiches. The immediate family members of the deceased do not do anything during his time, and everything is done for them by their relatives, neighbors, and friends, including monetary contributions to help the family. Much work in the community is often accomplished through bayanihan, such as building a nipa hut, house repairing, moving a small nipa house from one barrio to another, planting rice and harvesting palay, and preparing food for fest. Willing friends and relatives whose services have been engaged are not paid but are given free lunch and snacks. Free service is extended, hoping that when they need help, they can readily ask those they had previously helped. Next is the Ilonggo. Ilonggo culture is also manifested in the people's penchant for colorful and luxurious celebrations. The Ilonggo always finds an occasion to show his material affluence and his famous brand of hospitality. This explains why, other than the religious fests like the Patronal Fiestas, Flores de Mayo, and Santa Cruzan, the Ilonggos have also indulged themselves in many festivals aside from the world famous Dinagyang in Iloilo City and Mascara and Bacolod. And furthermore, Ilonggo culture is reflected in the wide range of its culinary delights. As in the case of batchoy, pansit molo, bayi-bayi, bisoko, inday-inday, binakol, bandi, piyaya, and pinasugbo. Batchoy apparently has become a national passion, a case of Ilonggo cultural colonization. These delightful concoctions, usually advertised as the original La Paz batchoy, can now be found anywhere in the Philippines. In the far north as the Ilocos region and in the far south as Tawi-Tawi, it is observed, however, that the batchoy taste in Iloilo could never be duplicated elsewhere, and it can only be approximated. Batchoy prepared by non-Ilonggos in other places tastes more like mami rather than the real thing. Next is the Ilocano, Dungao. Recited during wakes, the Dungao is commemoration of life. It gives praise to the deceased person who accomplishments when he was alive. The contents of the Dungao reflect the Ilocanos' understanding of light and death. The Dungao is usually in the form of dialogue, though sometimes it is put in written form, such as a religious Dungao. Dungao is customarily delivered by a practitioner called the Mandungao, by a planiaderas de oficio who is also hired to grieve for the dead, and by a baglan or a woman religious leader who has been a native healer since pre-Hispanic times. At present, however, anyone can give the dungao for the dead, especially those who have stories to share about the life of departed. The next is the Passion. The Passion is a religious practice Ilocanos perform during the Catholic Church observance of the Lenten season. It talks about the life of Jesus Christ, his birth, death, and resurrection, and how his sufferings have saved the world from its sins. In the Spanish period, missionaries and native would read, sing the Passion, or deliver it as a sermon. The next one is Panagbiag. The life of a member of royalty, the holy or the heroic is the focus of the Panagbiag. Its theme revolves around the individual's journey through life, the struggles fought, the failures and the glories. Panagbiag is composed and then performed. Missionaries and native intellectuals who continued the tradition of the so-called Ladinos, who could read and write both in Spanish and the vernacular, composed the Panagbiag, which could be performed at any time and place. The next is Bicolano. Bicolano people are devout Roman Catholic due to the Spanish conquering the countryside and converting them to their religion. Catholic Mass is celebrated daily in many churches and Bicol region. Bicol region has a large amount of rich flat land, and agriculture is the largest component of the economy, followed by commercial fishing. Coconuts, abaca, banana, coffee, and jackfruit are the top five permanent crops in the region. Bicolanos are famous for their way of cooking. They are primarily noted for the prominent use of chilled peppers and gata or the coconut milk on their food. A classic example of this is the Bicol Express, a well-loved dish using siling labuyo or the native small chiles and the aforementioned gata. The next is Pangasinense. Pangasinan, like Catholic worldwide, honor their dead on All Saints' Day in November 1 and All Souls' Day in November 2. They dress in traditional burial clothes and carrying light candles. And Pangasinan Cantor, singers stop at neighbors' homes where they receive sweetened rice cakes as reward for their singers. They dress in burial cloths and veils and holding light candles. A group of residents in central Pangasinan, called cantors, would gather on All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day and go from house to house to sing the song Pantaw Tawag or calling. After the last stanza is sung, the singers are ushered into the house and offered the usual fare, such as in lubi or the black rice cakes, fried rice flakes with caramel, and other native rice cakes. Next is Pampango, belief and practices. Just like the other ethno-linguistic groups, the Kapampangans have rich customs and tradition governing the rites of passage. Some of these practices are still being observed nowadays. Birth practices. First is the birth practices. And one of the barrios of Gagwa, Pampanga, close relatives of a woman who is about to deliver a child, together with their neighbor, make noise like shouting, beating it tin cans, and exploding firecrackers in order to help expel the fetus faster. Baptismal rites practices. In many Kapampangan houses, the baby's baptismal dress serves as a souvenir and decoration for the sala. It is put on a frame and hung in the sala like a picture. Courtship and marriage. The only prevalent form of courtship now is the pamanhikan, where the male, with the permission of the parents is to visit the girl in the latter's house. When the agreement is reached between the boy and the girl, the marriage ceremony is arranged. At present, pamanhikan is being practiced when the parents of the boy confer with their ballet parent or the parent of the bride-to-be regarding marriage plans of the children. The death and burial. The wake makipaglami lasts for at least 3 days and 2 nights, after which everybody participate in the libing or the interment. As a part of the ritual, vigil is observed till the ninth day after the death of the deceased, known as Pasham or day. On the first death anniversary, Lucas Paldas, literally the removing of the dress for mourning, is practiced when a gratuitous meal. The pangadi or the prayer of observance is an important part of the ritual. Next is the Bisayan Waray-Waray. Waray culture is response to a need and challenge. The dearth of the systematic body of knowledge to understand a people who are the fourth largest ethno-linguistic group in the Philippines and who occupy the third largest island in the archipelago, pressed the author to respond to that need. The unconsolidated data from various sources here and there, and the absence of venues for discourse pose a formidable challenge for any writer. The changing landscape and seascape in the island worlds of Samar and Leyte Islands are compelling. The cultural worker is bound to get to work, retrieve and document and advocate for the conservation of the natural and cultural wealth there are. But this cannot be frozen in the time wrap and the times move and life goes on. Generations part are gone and generations now will produce and raise the next ones. How do we bring them to the world of the next millennium? We are limited by our own lifeline, as the Jesus chronicler Father Francisco Alcena did in the 16th centuries. The necessary act is to write. Write of things would be forgotten. Write or else nobody would know of how people in this part of the world made meaning of their lives. Write or else nobody would know of us at all. Write so our children would know and understand themselves. Write of what is, has been, and could be so they would see the paths that they could take, not just to serve but to live happily. And that's all my report. And thank you.